Are you ready? It's time for Disturbin the Burbs.
Hi there, and welcome to Disturbin the Burbs. I'm Jen fucking Sharon.
And I'm Jim Sharon. Pitter patter.
Let's get at her.
Are you really Jen fucking Sharon?
Well, I just, feeling the...
Are you feeling the liquor?
Maybe that's it. I'm feeling the peach drops.
I've got notes here at the beginning of our script, folks, that say energy, 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 and all this kind of stuff just to kind of get us amped up for recording an episode.
So that was my interpretation.
And one of them even says, curse if you want to, and Jen decided to take that one to heart. So from here on out, you're going to be known as Jen fucking Sharon.
I can handle that.
Okay. I'm going to actually have to switch the podcast to include cursing on the podcast
I'm assuming
services.
none of our fans or listeners will object to that.
Do you object to the
I am
F
kind
word?
of a potty mouth already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all are kind of potty mouths. So it has been a while, hasn't it?
Well, hold on. Before we get started, I wanted to circle back to a topic that we've talked about recently in the last couple of episodes.
Okay.
Regarding dreams.
Sure. Yeah, we talked about dreams in the last episode.
Yeah. And, you had that one where Katy Perry was tickling you.
Right. So if you listen to the last episode, folks, we talked about dreams, and we've talked about dreams on previous episodes. And the last episode, we talked about Katy Perry, and she was actually tickling me in this dream at Disneyland. It was a weird dream.
Very involved dream, and you go on, and it's always you remembering your dreams.
I do.
That is a skill of yours, apparently.
I do remember my dreams. So what's?
Oh, anyway, so my thing is that I actually remembered a dream recently.
You remembered a fucking dream?
I did.
Oh, I can't believe that.
It's an occasion.
Okay.
It's to be noted.
I can't wait to hear about this one.
I mean, it's going to take me like 5 seconds to tell you because it's not like a long involved story with chapters like yours was.
Well, you could bullshit a little bit.
Well, I mean,
Fill in some interesting
I'm not gonna
anecdotes.
lie. I woke up and I just remembered the fact that I had been, basically pleading with you, trying to cajole you.
Mm-hmm. Cajole. That is a word that you
Talk
don't hear
you
very
into.
Convince.
Here we go. Mm-hmm. Getting a colonoscopy.
What? A
Yes,
colonoscopy. Now, and why would you dream about that?
Well, I don't know, because maybe I had seen something, or maybe we'd been talking about cancer, or family histories and all that. But what it boils down to is that I finally have a dream I remember, and it's not a sex dream with some
Hollywood star that you're in love with.
Something going in your butt.
But it is about something getting stuck in my butt. Okay, that's interesting.
So not a thrill.
No,
but yet it was notable enough for me to wake up.
I think we should try and interpret this dream.
You go ahead,
because usually dreams are not to be taken literally. We are enjoying some lovely spirits here tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, we can talk about that later.
Here in a little bit, but I want to interpret the dream here just a little bit. So you were dreaming. Do you remember if it was like intense, like you were arguing with me?
Well, yeah, because you clearly do not want to have this thing done, and I'm all, but I want you to live, and I don't want you to, you have a family history.
It's true. I do have a tattoo on my butt that says exit only. So, there is a family history of cancer. Yes, I have been avoiding getting that colonoscopy.
And you're supposed to get it at 50.
Right. And
let's not talk about the fact that I will become 50 this year.
You are.
But I don't have a family history.
Yeah,
so
you will probably get the colonoscopy before I will.
No, F that.
I think what's more important here is why you were dreaming about things getting stuck in my butt.
Shit, I don't know. I just did, and then I woke up remembering it. Maybe because I love you, asshole.
Wow, you're really taking that cursing to the next level.
Well, maybe because I, in reality, do think you should really get one.
Okay, well, I really actually don't know where to take this one.
I mean, we don't have to further discuss the whole.
We don't. It's interesting. I'm glad that you actually, for once, remembered one of your dreams. I'm confused and curious why it was about me getting a colonoscopy, because usually,
I don't know.
If you're going to interpret it, it's you would take it to the very least define.
Like why it was on my mind.
Why? Well, just the description or the interpretation is like very loosely based on that. So usually it's just based on an activity or a feeling or an emotion, based on something that's going on in your life.
I don't like the connections you're trying to draw here.
At some point in time here recently, you have wanted to cause me physical harm by sticking something up my butt.
Stop it! That is so not true. Don't be a jerk.
All right. Should we move on?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that to start the episode because we've talked about dreams.
Folks, it's been a while since we've been behind the mic recording a podcast, and this is what we do to you. We open things up.
What is the episode actually supposed to be about?
It's usually about nothing. It's like Seinfeld, right?
Yeah.
We usually yammer on and on about this and that and the other thing, but there's no real... Listen, we don't talk politics.
No.
Nothing serious.
Not a good idea.
That's not a good idea. We don't talk religion for the most part.
Not a good idea.
We have dipped our toe in that. We don't talk about parenting. Listen, we don't like to take life too seriously. We like to have fun. So really, our podcasts are usually revolved around interesting anecdotes from our daily lives.
Drinking,
art, and pop culture. So hopefully you've enjoyed us. If you're a new listener, welcome to the fold. We hope you enjoy this episode. It's going to be a shorty.
We're off to a banging start.
Yeah, we're off to a banging start. Things have happened. I think it's been about roughly a month since we've put out a podcast.
Man, what's wrong with us?
Which is shameful, and I apologize to the listeners that are just anxiously waiting by for a new episode.
Sorry to rob you of our presence.
Right, it's finally here.
We've had some stuff happening.
Yeah, we've had some shit happen. Some good shit. Obviously, unless your head is completely buried in the sand, everybody and their uncle is getting COVID vaccinations. Well, at least 60% of everybody.
Exactly. Be one of the people.
Yeah. Well, let's not try to get too forceful and political here. But Jen and I are fully vaccinated now. Woohoo! About 2 weeks ago, we got our first shot at the Yakima fairgrounds in Yakima, Washington, the Palm Springs of Washington State.
So not
It's
true.
about a 2.5 hour drive for us, but we were having a hard time finding vaccines availability around here, and so we decided to go ahead and take a shot. And let me tell you, those guys had it down to a science.
Experience.
It was really cool.
It was kind of surreal, like we were in an outbreak movie or something.
I guess,
because in those mass vaccination sites, it's done by
military.
Not Coast Guard,
the National Guard.
National Guard,
right?
And so it's a little intimidating, just because it's military presence,
right?
And you're going through in an orderly fashion in your cars.
Yeah, but it wasn't an antagonist.
Nice.
No. Exactly, right? They were super nice. They jabbed your arm. It was over and done before I even realized it. Now, that penis growing out the front of my forehead
stop.
From the Pfizer vaccine, that's just a small side effect.
I don't even want to visualize that. Cut it out.
Okay. Yeah, it's bad enough that you have to deal with the one between my legs, let alone the one on my forehead.
Be quiet.
Anyway, so long story short, we did get that first vaccine, and then 2 weeks later, just on this last Monday on the 26th, we were able to get our second shot.
I feel 3 weeks.
Huh?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay. So anyway, I feel
Just
really good about it.
Luckily closer to home.
Yep.
And just in a pharmacy.
And we really wanted to get it done because we are traveling to Mexico.
Insert Mexican fiesta music here.
I'm sure I have the hat dance sound effect somewhere.
Yeah, find it.
In my
It needs it.
sound effects.
We're
I'll
super excited, though.
Put that in there. Yes, because this is actually the first time that Jen and I have actually traveled to Mexico together.
And Carter has never been.
Carter is coming. I've been, but a long, long time ago, and it was not for fun. It was for work.
I don't even know how you can count that.
Right. And so this one is the first time we've talked about going for the longest time. And so now we're actually getting to do it. Carter is turning 16.
Yes.
He's going to have his 16th birthday while we're down in Mexico. And for any of you that are listeners of ours down in Mexico, if you happen to be live in the Yucatan Peninsula around Cancun, that's where we're going to be. Look for us. We'll be around.
Message us.
We're very recognizable. We're very.
We'll have our entourage with us.
Yes, we'll have our podcast entourage. I'll be dropping off business cards everywhere we go.
We are doing that.
We're going to be down in Cancun. We're going to be in Playa del Carmen and Isla Mujeres. 11 days. We're really looking forward to it. We were robbed, really, at the beginning of the pandemic.
We canceled so many trips.
We canceled trips, but the big one was we were supposed to go to Scotland, Ireland, and London for a fantastic trip. And we were denied because basically shit hit the fan. Worldwide. And we weren't able to go. So this is going to be our first real big vacation. I know that there's still, issues with COVID and everything like that. But
from everything we've heard, Mexico is doing it right.
Yep.
And, we'll do everything we can to stay safe.
Much lower infection rate down there than even in the state of Washington where we live. So I feel pretty good about going down there.
Yeah.
Anyway, not to rub it in, folks, but we're going to Mexico, bitches. Should be a lot of fun. And friends of ours are going down there as well.
Who have been many times before, which is really nice.
Yep. So they're kind of like guiding us through this whole experience. They're planning all kinds of really fun stuff.
I love what they've
catered
arranged.
Dinners.
Yeah.
At they're staying at Jen and I and Carter are staying at hotels, and they are staying at Airbnb houses and that sort of thing. So that's going to be kind of the home base, and they're going to do catered dinners. We're going to rent a yacht for a day and spend the day out on a yacht. We're going to a water park, and I don't know how to pronounce it. I've heard it pronounced.
I think it's like Ishkarat.
Ishkarat, I think is how it's
spelled with an X.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be one of the most amazing water parks in the world. But and it's different. It's not like slides and that sort of thing.
It doesn't seem water slides.
But it's like part zoo, part cultural stuff, part snorkeling, part high-speed boat rides, part deep-sea diving, part this, part that. And there's a lot of fun stuff.
Choices.
So that's where we're going to spend Carter's 16th birthday.
I think he's going to love it.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And then one thing that I just heard recently that I'm really, really excited about, and I'm sure you are too, is that
we're going to eat all the tacos we want. No, sorry.
Yeah, well, I think if we're still talking about Mexico, that's going to be pretty awesome because I will gorge myself in tacos and margaritas. I will not be sober for 10 times 24 hours for the next 2,000. I can't
Don't
do
hurt
math.
yourself, honey. I get the point.
I'm an artist. I'm not a mathematician. Get out the calculator really quick. Let's take a look here. And there's
have I mentioned I really love tacos?
Yeah, we know you love tacos. 24 times 10. That's just 240 hours.
I mean, yes.
That's a long time to not be sober. So anyway, that's my goal. That's my plan. Should be a good time.
And you were saying the announcement.
Anyway, in the news recently, the European Union Commissioner, I don't know, a Grand Poobah. I just read a news story that European travel is going to open back up this summer. And that, to me, is super exciting news.
As in they're allowing Americans in.
Yes, American travel. And even the French Prime Minister came out and said that they are opening international travel to Americans that are fully vaccinated. Let's be clear about that. And
get your fucking vaccination.
Get your fucking vaccination, which is cool for us because we've been toying about this idea of going to Tuscany in the fall for Jen's 50th birthday.
Yeah.
50.
That seems appropriate. I deserve that for making it through such a horrid birthday.
Have a dear friend that is a travel agent and
a tour company.
Has a tour company, and he's putting together tours for all over Europe and that sort of thing. One of the tours that he has put together is this Tuscany.
But it's so perfect. It's like this foodie trip.
It's like food and wine basically, and visiting a bunch of
cooking classes.
Yeah, and I think we're staying at a winery. At a winery, and we get to learn how to make pasta and all kinds of really fun stuff.
And then day trips to other places.
Yep. So we're also looking forward to that. We really want this European travel thing to open up.
Yeah, we'd love to have that trip happen.
I think, the American side of it is, with the CDC and everything like that, they're still not like, because it has to be both ways, right? It has to be European, opening up the travel venues, avenue, and then Americans going, okay, it's safe for you to travel internationally to Europe.
Sure, yeah.
So it has to be an agreement between both parties. And so we want to make sure, we're hoping that everything goes smoothly there. So in October, we can take this really fun trip.
Yes, please.
Oh, I love traveling. Cheers. Cheers to traveling.
Yes, cheers.
And drinking clinkies. Oh, yeah. Folks, you can hear the ice cubes.
This is currently my favorite drink, by the way.
And what are we drinking? What spirits are we drinking tonight? This is one of Jen's new favorites. And this is a
peach drop.
Yes,
I think we've talked about it in prior episodes.
We might have. We have. There's a local restaurant here that Jen and I go to occasionally called Emery's, and it's on Silver Lake. It's a really neat little kind of lodge feel to it. Lakefront restaurant, and they have an amazing drink menu. And when I say amazing, I am not shitting you. It is extensive and amazing, and they make fabulous drinks.
Yeah,
and this was on their drink list, and so I took a picture of it and tried to recreate this at home.
Best idea ever.
Yeah, and really the ingredients call for simple syrup. There is a vodka brand called Deep Eddy, and they have a peach vodka. Don't get any other peach vodka. Yeah. It has to be Deep Eddy because they infuse it with real peach juice, which others don't do it quite like this.
Yeah, it's like synthetic peach flavoring.
Well, it's an essence of it. Right. And this has real peach juice in it, so it has to be that Deep Eddy, even though in my books...
It's not clear. It's like an orange. It's clearly got juices in it.
And I don't know, Deep Eddy's not top shelf vodka, so don't expect that. But it has a great flavor to it. So it has, 2 shots of Deep Eddy peach vodka. It has Saint Germain, and that is an elderflower liqueur.
So good.
And it's not cheap,
which also
folks.
Makes great mimosas, by the way.
Yeah, but
not cheap. You're right.
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's got lemon juice in it, and then it's supposed to have simple syrup. And we've tried it with simple syrup. Right now, we're making it with a sour mix, and so that's what it's in it tonight. So it's Deep Eddy vodka.
Tonight.
So I used 2 shots of vodka, 1 shot of lemon juice, a half shot of Saint Germain, and a shot of sour mix. And that makes pretty. And before also, I've also added peach puree to it, and you can order peach puree off of Amazon or find it at Total Wine or different liquor stores and that sort of thing. But it's just easiest for us to grab it off of Amazon, and usually I add a splash of that, but we're out of it. But that's what we're drinking, folks, tonight, because that's so part of our podcast is Jen and I love to get liquored up and talk to you guys. So that's kind of what we're doing tonight.
I think that makes for a better podcast, honestly.
Really? Folks, what do you think? Do you think it makes for a better podcast? It certainly loosens Jen's lips up a little bit, with the cursing. And you don't have to prove it by cursing right now, but anyway.
Okay. No.
So anyway... we got our COVID shots. We're going to Mexico.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to traveling. I think everybody is looking forward to traveling.
I'm sure, yeah.
I think with folks getting vaccinated in large quantities, we're seeing that the CDC is relaxing the mask mandate for those that are fully vaccinated.
A little bit.
Well, just outdoor, right?
Yeah.
If you're fully vaccinated, you can pretty much go around anywhere outdoors without your mask on.
Yes.
It's once you get into the grocery stores and that sort of thing, which is still cool. I have no problem with that. I don't like the masks. I don't think anybody likes the mask, and bless you, by the way. We heard that sneeze.
Sorry.
The listeners heard the sneeze. But anyway, so that's kind of what's going on with us. And of course, as usual, we love to talk about things that we've been watching lately. So
and
folks,
we've watched a lot.
it's been a hot minute since we've actually recorded a podcast.
I know, that's why we have a long list. Huh?
So we do have a fair bit to talk to you folks about tonight. First on the list is a show that we watched, and it's a series on Netflix, and it's called The Irregulars. What do you think about, what's your initial impression of The Irregulars?
I loved it. We watched this with Carter, so it's family friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just my kind of thing, a little bit of sci-fi fantasy, good characters, adventure show. It's an investigation.
Right.
Well, it was based in Sherlock Holmes time, basically.
Right.
And that's
so
kind of
it's, what was that, Victorian era?
Sounds right, yeah.
And so, yes, like Jen said, it is kind of a Sherlock Holmes era series, and it actually revolves around Watson and Sherlock. Watson is more prevalent in this series, and he ends up hiring a young group of street kids to help him investigate cases.
Right.
And it goes on as the series goes on. I think there was about eight episodes,
I think
right?
so, yeah.
And as the series goes on, it kind of opens up into, where some of these characters come from, who their parents were, because they're all street kids. They're all kind of considered orphans.
And they come together like as a found family.
There is one little side story of a prince based on a real prince, and his involvement with this group of street kids.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it was pretty good.
It was really enjoyable.
Yeah, I think that was something that we feel comfortable recommending to everybody. If you haven't watched The Irregulars on Netflix and you have Netflix, go out, give it a try. Not everybody likes those kind of period pieces, and I know, Jen, you traditionally
I'm very picky about which ones I like. Yeah.
And so I was actually surprised that you liked this one and stuck with it. But, any chance to hang out with our son.
Well, and it had the touch of supernatural, too, which I like. But, yes, anything that he wants to watch with us.
That's true. There
I'm
seems to
go
be
for it.
so much of that right now, like
Attention
on Netflix.
from our teenager.
Yeah. The next movie that we watched, and we kind of held off on watching
this was a
one.
limited series as well.
Yeah, The Irregulars.
The next one we're talking about here, The Undoing.
Was that a limited series, or it wasn't just a straight up movie?
No.
Oh, okay. We just happened to, and HBO is horrible for not releasing all of their episodes all at once. They make you wait week to week to week. So actually, I'm glad. I didn't remember that it was a series, but
it might have been even. It might have been just like a 4-episode thing. I think it was even shorter of a mini series. But
did we mention that it was The Undoing?
The Undoing.
Yes.
Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant.
And
before we go any further, let's talk about spoilers.
Yeah. So, folks, we're going to talk about this. This one's been out long enough.
Yeah.
You've
had long enough.
Right. Lots of opportunity have watched this. So we're actually going to talk about it a little bit more in depth. So if you're listening and you haven't watched The Undoing and you're sitting on the fence, trying to determine
skip ahead a good 5 minutes.
Sure, you might want to skip ahead because we're going to talk about it a little bit, but
and we're going to give shit away.
Yeah, I would definitely say this is something that you'd want to watch.
It's great.
It's great. Don't skip over it. If you're kind of on the fence, wondering if you're going to watch it or not, go ahead and watch it. But anyway, starring Nicole Kidman, she plays a therapist,
and her husband Hugh Grant.
He's
a pediatric oncologist.
Right. So
right away, he's like super likable.
Right. And it kind of opens up with Nicole Kidman and a group of, very well-off women
The school moms,
The school moms at a private school, and they've got a social planning committee, and they're planning this fundraiser for the school. And so there's this one other side character, a very voluptuous, buxom woman with a child, young baby,
young newcomer mom,
and here she pulls out a tit right during the social.
That would be what you remember,
and starts breastfeeding in front of all these women, which causes a little
definitely puts them off.
A little bit of tension within the group and whatnot, but. Right. Kind of definitely sets the tone for who this woman is and what kind of person she is. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. So all you folks women that do public breastfeeding, don't shit on me.
Not a statement
this
about
is not
that.
a statement.
Yeah.
This is just saying it just lets you know what kind of person she is. Very open and outgoing and that sort of thing.
Comfortable with her body.
Yeah. So anyway, she ends up kind of forming an indirect friendship a little bit with Nicole Kidman that grows over a very, very short period of time. And kind of fast forward, the fundraiser is happening. This young woman is at the fundraiser getting a lot of attention from different men. Yeah. And everybody at the fundraiser, all these parents are kind of noticing what's going on.
Yeah. But then Nicole Kidman, comes across her in the bathroom all upset.
And they exchange saliva.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the young mom, thanks Nicole Kidman's character for being so kind to her.
Right. When everybody else is kind of being a biatches.
Totally lays one on her.
Yep.
And Nicole Kidman, we don't get to know what she's thinking. You don't know if she's all... What the fuck?
Right. You don't know if it's reciprocal, right?
What the fuck?
Yeah. Whether she's like, gonna, go down the road.
Anyway. We don't get to know how she's feeling about that.
So what ends up happening, and this is kind of the spoiler bit, this gal ends up dead.
Brutally murdered.
Brutally murdered.
Yeah.
And so the series really revolves around, and Hugh Grant takes off and he disappears.
Yeah, right after that, he's like nowhere to be found.
And so he is considered one of the chief suspects.
And we have no idea why at that point.
Right. And, the guys that are investigating the case are really kind of hammering on Nicole Kidman. And they have
suspenseful.
Very suspenseful. Yeah. They have a son, and they're leading you down these paths. Did Hugh Grant's character do it? Did Nicole Kidman's character do it? Because maybe there's this. One of the spoilers here is that Hugh Grant was taking care of this woman's son.
Yeah. Treating him for cancer.
And find out that he had a little romantic dalliance with this woman. So, was Nicole Kidman a jealous wife that killed her? Was it Hugh Grant that killed her? And then Jen and I were thinking as we're watching this, it comes out that Hugh Grant's character's mother... she talks to Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman asks about him and how he was as a kid. And the mother comes out and says that he was a narcissistic sociopath, right?
Right. It's a big reveal.
And it's a big reveal. But what it ends up doing is it kind of steers you towards thinking whether the kid did it or not, their son.
Yeah, like did he inherit these capabilities?
Because he has some of these same little signs that he might be a sociopath as well.
And honestly, hun, even though we've talked about the fact that there's spoilers here, I think the fact that we're still like recommending the show, like if people did not stop listening, and they've kept listening and they want to watch this, I don't want to do final spoilers.
Okay.
Because I think even with all we've revealed, people would still just totally get a thrill out of this show.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's fair. I think that's a good place to stop on anything that we might reveal.
It's really good.
The one thing that we do want to say, though, is that ultimately this was a very, very different role for anything that we've ever watched Hugh Grant in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This very dark, and listen, we haven't watched a shitload of Hugh Grant movies, and I know that he is a very talented actor, and his his range of emotions is, goes far beyond the movies that you and I have watched him in.
Yeah, as demonstrated by this show. But,
right. But it
I'll
was
forever think of him as the floppy-haired romantic dude mess of a guy in 4 weddings and a funeral.
4 weddings and a funeral, and it made me really kind of made me think about the movies that we've watched.
I think that was probably most people's introduction to him.
Was 4 weddings.
I think
and
he
a
was
funeral.
in movies before that.
It has been so long that I don't even remember very, very much about
before you and I.
4 weddings and a funeral. I just remember there was one of the friends was always wearing a Scottish kilt.
Yeah.
And is he the one that ends up dying?
He's the funeral.
He's the funeral?
Yeah.
Okay. And I remember there was
Andy McDowell.
There was somebody that was going to marry this woman that wasn't necessarily attractive.
Duckface?
Yes. And we just watched something recently that had Duckface in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think it was it Shadow and Bone? Or maybe it was the New Mutants. I can't remember.
You got me, hon. I'm not remembering that at all.
It was something that we watched, and I was trying to point it out as we were watching. It was like, that was Duckface from 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Oh, gosh. I don't remember that.
But anyway, I'll try to remember what that was, or I'll look on IMDb.
Yeah.
But, other notable stuff that we love and have watched again and again and again.
Notting Hill is the top.
I love Notting Hill.
We have watched the heck out of that movie so many times.
And, it's not necessarily... all just for Julia Roberts and
I know you don't like her that much.
oh no, I like Julia Roberts.
It's a
I think
highly romantic movie.
I think it's just hilarious
and funny
of the horsey laugh that she has, and that I swear she must have it in her contract
Yes,
that every movie she is in, she has to do this whatever.
She probably hates it, and it's in the contract that she has to do it.
Right.
I bet you she hates it.
Right. But the one character that I absolutely, there's 2 characters, right? There's the shopmate, right, named Martin, that is
totally clueless.
Just very, very clueless.
Like a cappuccino.
They, in Notting Hill, Hugh Grant owns a bookstore, right?
Travel bookstore.
And so he has this one partner that works at the store with him. But his roommate is the one that steals the show, and that's Reese. I think it's Ifans or Ifans.
Oh yeah.
And he plays Luna Lovegood's father in the Harry Potter series.
That's right.
But his role in this one as Hugh Grant's roommate is just hilarious, and the shenanigans.
Full of British humor, obviously.
Yeah, very, very British humor. But it's such a fantastic movie. If you've never watched Notting Hill with Hugh Grant, I don't know what you're waiting for.
Yeah. We need to watch it again.
Fucking fantastic little romp.
Yeah.
It has romance, but I'm okay with some rom-coms.
So much humor, though.
But yeah, there's a ton of humor. And another movie that I really enjoyed with Hugh Grant was Bridget Jones' Diary. You remember that one?
Of course.
It's been a while. But that was based off books. I think you read the books, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're wonderful.
And Renee Zellweger is in that, and Colin Firth. Mm-hmm. And if we're going to talk about Hugh Grant and Colin Firth, you've got to talk about Love Actually as well, which we used to love as a holiday movie. And I know we've talked about this before, but now it's like one of your absolutely hated movies that you refuse to watch at Christmas time anymore.
I know. I literally would have to fast forward through half the storylines.
But it's not. It's just one storyline and one moment that you absolutely hate.
Yeah, okay.
And that's Alan Rickman's role.
I can deal, even though I don't love all of them. I mean, I can deal with all of them except for the Alan Rickman cheating asshole.
We've gone several years, but Alan Rickman is loved by everyone.
I don't care. This is a shitty storyline.
So it's not him. It's the little trollop that works in his office that tries to sway him.
And he buys her a fucking diamond bracelet.
Yeah, men are fallible.
Oh, God.
Anyway,
I hate that storyline.
Oh, but anyway, Hugh Grant is in it, and he plays the prime minister.
He's delightful.
Yeah, it's the very unlikely storyline of him playing the prime minister
and falling
yada
for his,
yada yada.
His assistant. Yes.
But
yes, Love Actually is mostly. Although I always bring it back to the mention of that article, Why Love Actually is Actually the Worst.
The worst, yep. There is an article out there about that. Do you remember any details?
Just how highly dysfunctional this movie is.
Yeah.
You know, mainly the cheating storyline.
Right.
And the storyline with the gal who's got a brother who's in the mental institution.
Oh, yeah. That storyline. Laura Linney and that whole storyline. I could fast forward through that one.
And then the guy who's in love with his friend's new wife, you know, and tries to get over her. There's so much dysfunction in this movie.
Right.
Really.
Liam Neeson's in that one. Yeah, that's the one you're talking about. Anyway. Okay.
No.
All right. Maybe it is a piece of shit. But then there's a couple more movies that I really, really enjoyed with Hugh Grant. And I can't remember who the author is, but he wrote that he's the author of oh gosh, what's that one that John Cusack is in?
Oh, High Fidelity.
High Fidelity. Do you remember the author's name?
Let me think.
Jen's looking on the interwebs.
Hey, I was trying to be sneaky, you jerk.
Let me think, she says as she's quickly looking up on her phone.
You're a jerk. I could have gotten away with it if you'd helped me out. Nick Hornby. Who I actually love. I have several of his books.
Yep, there are books up in the library that have Nick Hornby on them. And one of those is about a boy, right?
Yes.
And I really, really like this movie. It's painful in parts. Nicholas Hoult is in it when he was very young.
Yes.
He has gone on to star in a ton of movies, and he's a handsome young adult man. But in this one, he is an awkward preteen.
Would you say that he was...
He definitely long bottomed, definitely, and of course,
wow, Nick Hornby's written a lot of books.
Gosh, what's her name? That actress that plays his mother. Her role is just I want to stab myself in the face because she's just this annoying, depressed vegan that forces her lifestyle on her poor son. And anyway, if you've never watched About a Boy,
Toni Collette.
Yeah, Toni Collette. Now she's fantastic, right?
She's a great actress.
Great actress. In this one, she's at her absolute worst, but best at the same time.
Yeah,
she's very believable.
Acted, yeah.
Right. Suicidal tendencies and all, and it's how her son finds strength and
it's so good. I mean, really, if you haven't seen About a Boy, where have you been?
Yeah, so watch About a Boy. I know we're not painting a very good picture of it.
No. It's have a Hugh Grant movie
marathon.
Marathon, yes.
Yes. Do we need to slow down on the alcohol?
Dude.
I can't remember the word.
You're the one who
marathon.
outed me as far as my Googling mid-episode.
All right, one more that made the mental
and
list.
I bet you less people will have seen this one.
Yeah, and this one I actually really, really like, and it's called Music and Lyrics, and it's with Drew Barrymore
rom-com.
and Hugh Grant. And Hugh Grant plays this has-been 1980s kind of Wham.
Exactly. Think of Wham.
You know, music. So he would be the equivalent probably of George Michael. The Andrew Ridgeley of Wham, where he was not the one that went on to be
huge
the success,
fame,
the huge fame.
And he like performs at like city festivals and stuff.
And was it theme parks?
Yeah,
and,
theme parks,
and that sort of thing. And he always gets this, a crowd gathering of 40-something-year-old women. Anyway,
I liked him back when he was part of a boy band, basically.
Yep. And so it's him and his post-fame life, and
he's trying to write a song on a deadline.
Right, and he ends up pairing up with Drew Barrymore, who is filling in for his house cleaner.
No, she's just watering the
plants. That's all she's doing is watering plants. But they end up forming this union, and she helps him write these songs for this up and coming starlet that reminds me a lot of like
Shakira.
Oh, is it Shakira?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shakira's her competition.
And I was kind of thinking like Shakira meets Britney Spears meets Taylor Swift kind of thing. But anyway, So that, and there's a lot of,
if you like rom-coms.
Yeah, it's definitely a rom-com. But I'm macho enough of a guy that I can appreciate this kind of thing. So anyway, so what do we got here? We talked about The Undoing, and then we had this Hugh Grant list here: 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Notting Hill, Bridget Jones' Diary, About a Boy, Love Actually, and Music and Lyrics.
So if you bring all those together, clearly The Undoing is completely opposite of anything he's done.
Anything that he's done, and that's what we found so surprising about this role, that he does it so well.
Yeah. He
completely pulls it off.
He does.
And shows him the true asshole that he is. So anyway, so there's that. All right. Have we talked enough about fucking Hugh Grant?
Yes, I believe we have.
Let's follow through and wrap this fucker up.
What else have we watched?
We're already at 40 minutes here.
I told you. You always think it's going to be faster than it is.
Right.
We are not.
We ramble.
Efficient.
I know we are not efficient on the podcast. We kind of ramble. But anyway, several other things that we've watched here over the last several weeks that we wanted to tell you guys about. And one is it's a movie that we found on demand. I don't think it was mainstream by any means, but it's called The Vault.
Yeah.
And
this year there's not really been a lot of mainstream.
It's been kind of weird. But anyway,
I think it was direct to streaming.
Yeah. It stars Freddie Highmore of all folks, and Freddie Highmore his high whore.
Spit it out. He's been creative with his movie. He's had a successful TV show though.
Yeah, he had something where he was a savant,
like an autistic doctor
or something like that. Anyway, he's not an autistic bank robber here, but he does play a very smart kid that gets recruited into this group of folks that want to rob this bank. And Jen and I are huge fans of heist movies.
Yeah.
We've talked about them multiple times before. We love bank robbery type movies or getaway movies.
Yeah.
We love The Italian Job and movies of that ilk. So,
Tower Heist.
Anybody that likes to drive fast in getaway cars,
that
like
too.
Baby Driver, we
go.
love that. Jason Statham fits in there somewhere in his movies.
Yeah. This one was pretty smart though.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. So I will just say it's on demand. It's not on a specific streaming service. So look for it, on your local cable channel or service. We have Xfinity, so it's on Xfinity on demand. So look for The Vault. Disney Plus. They have had The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, another Marvel
streaming.
chapter.
I think it was just 6 episodes.
That sounds right.
And it was very, very short, over and done, but it was a really good arc, right?
Yeah, I agree.
It's on Disney Plus. If you have that, it follows, the canon of, the Avengers and the story
all the Marvel
and
movies,
blah, 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 blah.
This one's next,
and I love
Bucky
the Winter Soldier character, Bucky, and the Falcon, and this is post,
after Captain America has said goodbye,
right, and
passed on.
Iron Man is gone, and all that stuff.
The Shield.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, there's a new Captain America that isn't quite up to the task, and it doesn't measure up to Captain America. If you followed the Avengers storyline at all, we know that Cap, had intended to give the shield to the Falcon, and he basically turned it down. And so this really kind of follows the continuation of that story.
Yeah.
Of, him.
I think it's important to watch if you've watched all the movies.
Right. And if you like the Marvel series, this is definitely one that fits very well within that canon and sets it up for the next, whatever the next big movie is.
Yeah.
Much like, WandaVision, I think people are confused about that one, but again, it fits really well within the Marvel canon. So anyway, watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier if you're looking for something interesting on Disney
If you're lucky enough
Plus.
to have Disney Plus.
Right. And then we did give a second try to Men in Kilts.
Yeah, we had mentioned this in an earlier episode, and we kind of panned it.
Yeah, it's on Stars.
And it turns out how they've organized their episodes. Like the first one was a food theme, and the second one was a sports theme. So they're not doing a little bit of everything in each episode.
Right. And I think that was what was kind of difficult, and what we weren't grasping when we first watched it, because you and we love the foodie shows. We really loved Finding Italy with Stanley Tucci, and so we were kind of expecting. We were built and led to believe that that's what Men in Kilts was going to be, because when we were watching the trailers and the teasers for that, it was very food oriented. But it
turns out that was about the first episode,
right? And I think it's more about them exploring Scotland and all the interesting things that Scotland is known for,
right?
Which makes it more about travelogue, right? It's more about native Scotsmen,
right?
Showing off their country.
And they have really good chemistry together. They've starred obviously in the Outlander series together,
right? One of your favorite shows.
Yeah. So while we had to pan that first episode in one of our previous,
we were like, let's go back, give it another try, right? And so we're in the middle of that right now.
We're glad we did.
Yeah, I think if we kind of turned anybody off on that in a previous episode, I say give it another try or
the second one was a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. Another show that we started watching, and this is the crazy thing about HBO Max, right? Disney, and Disney's the same way. They release an episode at a time.
Yeah.
Netflix, if you're on Netflix, they'll release the whole season, and you can binge it really easily. Whereas other streaming services, you have to wait week after week after week, and it becomes unbearable. But anyway, we started watching this one called The Nevers.
Yes, we'd heard from other people. We had to tune in, and we paid attention.
Yep.
And I will say we watched this first episode with our son Carter, but I will not be continuing to watch it with him. This TVMA.
Right.
And it's clear.
Right.
Well,
it's my favorite thing about HBO Max is when I see the rating and it says sex, nudity, violence.
Content,
yes. And I'm like, yes.
Well, I mean, they only talk about it in the first episode, but one of the characters clearly owns a sex club. So I'm not going to watch that with my kid. Luckily, there was nothing super objectionable in that first episode.
16 in a couple of weeks.
So just be forewarned.
Anyway, it's Victorian era.
Yeah,
it's women with superpowers, and it has a very steampunk feel to it. Don't want to really give anything away because even the first episode is really, really kind of cool. So again, it's really funny when you and I talk about this stuff, what we traditionally trend towards.
Supernatural tendencies.
We love stuff with people with superpowers.
Too, because there's some good, powerful women characters, which is always a good thing.
Yep, obviously. All right, so give The Nevers a chance on HBO Max.
Yeah.
The next one, just the name Thunder Force is kind of funny.
Why is it funny? Are you thinking Thunder Thighs or something?
No, I'm just thinking, like Thunder from Down Under.
Okay.
At what's that restaurant? The Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah.
And I think there was isn't there a male strip club review called Thunder from Down Under?
Maybe. That sounds right.
That.
Yeah.
Anyway, Thunder Force, Melissa McCarthy, Octavia Spencer.
Which right there is a great cast.
Right. It is a movie that is written and directed by Melissa McCarthy.
It's a series, I think.
Is it a series as well? I thought it was just a movie.
Watched the first episode, I thought.
Oh, no, I think it's a movie.
Do you want me to look it up?
Yep, it's a movie. I'll bet you and wrestle you.
You're not going to wrestle me.
Anyway, it was written and directed by Melissa McCarthy's husband. Can't remember his name right off the top of my head. It's a movie, isn't it?
It is a movie. Did we not finish it?
We did not finish. We
so it wasn't like an episode.
In true fashion, you and I tend to start we start imbibing, early in the evening.
Well, what the hell? Why are we talking about this?
We might toss a gummy in there, And the next thing you know, we're a little sleepy.
Well, let's stick a pin in this and we'll talk about it next time.
Well, again, Thunder Force, very funny.
Intriguing so far.
Yes, it's basically, I mean, you can watch the trailer and figure this much out, is that, somehow Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer get superpowers and they fight crime.
Love it.
So, anyway.
Let's finish it.
Yes. We got a few more to go here, folks. Another movie that Carter requested we watch, and I don't know where he came up with this one, was a Simon Pegg helmed movie called Absolutely Anything. And we found it on Tubi, Tubi. It's another streaming service. Yeah. I think they have free movies on there and whatnot.
This one's a few years old.
Yeah, it's several years old.
How we heard about
mid 2000s. And it's basically a man that gets granted the ability from aliens. And an interesting little side note, it is directed by a, what's the name of that group? Life of Brian, Monty Python.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
So whoever the main guy that directs all the movies, and right now I've had a little bit too much to drink, to be honest with you. I can't remember names of directors, but I think it's not Terry Gilliam, but it's one of the other guys that directed this. And there's some alien characters, and John Cleese is one of the voices, and Eric Idle, and so they've got some of the Monty Python guys in this movie. But anyway, these aliens are fucking with humans.
They're trying to decide whether to destroy the Earth, basically.
Right. And they, for some strange reason, they decide to give a single human the ability to do absolutely anything that they...
It's like a test.
Yeah. And so Simon Pegg, of all people, gets this ability, and it's very funny what he chooses to do with it and not to do with it. And there's a little bit of a love story that involves... Kate Beckinsale, who at one point in time was in my top 5 list,
I think we've talked
is
about
no longer in my top 5 list. Yeah.
Did she get too old for you, honey?
She just got too weird. Anyway, moving on.
You watch the movie. It's cute.
Yeah, it's a cute movie. Yeah. Generally, if it's something that Simon Pegg is in, I generally like it.
He's got good judgment.
Yeah. So anyway, next on the list, The New Mutants. We watched this travesty.
It's all right.
It was all right. I would say it's okay.
Linked to the X-Men universe.
Yeah. It's definitely Marvel.
No.
Yes.
Is X-Men Marvel?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Snap to it,
it's
woman.
Just that X-Men is always so separate.
It is. It's a very separate storyline, but in some areas they kind of coexist, but
more like in the comics.
Yeah. So really this is in that vein, and it's a new group of people. Oh, what's her face from Game of Thrones is in it. Maisie Williams is in it. That one chick from The Queen's Gambit is in it, and a bunch of other people that I don't know and recognize.
Right. Yeah.
But it was interesting. It was good. It wasn't
it was mildly entertaining.
Yeah. Watched it with our son. Doing a lot of watching with Carter lately.
Yeah.
But here we go. Here is another movie. We can bounce off of New Mutants into The Inside Man.
And this one's another one that's a few years old.
Is it really?
Carter hadn't seen it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I am going to.
You're Googling
challenge,
now, aren't you?
Well, I'm IMDbing it. So give us some color.
At least 5 years old.
Give us some color commentary here. Inside
Jodie
Man.
Foster, Clive Owens.
Oh Jesus, you are so correct. That is older than a few years. That's like 2006. I had no idea it was that old.
I told you.
Yeah. Wow. So, we're not up to date here, folks. We're giving you a must watch on something that's really, really old.
How many people, this could have not been on anybody's radar.
Right.
And it's, another heist movie.
Well, it was a movie that was on
it's just on demand.
On demand, like in the new releases. I swear it was in there. Was it not?
No, it might just have been
a recommendation?
New to our free movies or something like that.
Okay. Well, anyway, I had never watched this before. It wasn't even on my radar, but it was Denzel Washington, Jodie Foster, Clive Owens. It's a bank robbery movie that caught our attention right away.
Yeah, smart plot.
We thought, let's watch this, and it did not disappoint. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Has all the right twists.
I think it was pretty highly rated, like Rotten Tomatoes wise.
Yeah, I believe it was. We don't watch shit. Anyway, folks, if you're a Denzel fan, if you like Jodie Foster, if you like Clive Owens, definitely.
And if you like heist movies,
yeah,
I like recommending older movies sometimes.
Yeah, and again, we are fans, bank robberies, heists, all that kind of shit. Definitely one worth watching.
Yeah.
Inside Man. And finally, let's wrap this show up.
Okay.
And talk about Shadow and Bone.
Yes, new series.
Now, this is a new series on Netflix. It's based off a young adult book series called Shadow and Bone. And this was recommended to us by a listener, said, hey, have you watched this yet? And we're like, no, we haven't watched it.
Carter took an interest to it.
Yep. The trailer for it is great on Netflix. But I will say the first episode is confusing as fuck.
You really need to pay attention. Don't be drinking.
Yeah. This is one that you've got to, don't be reading books while you're watching it. Don't be playing games on your phone while you're watching it. You really have to pay attention because there is a vernacular used in there that is used in so many science fiction books that people create their own language for people and characters and lands and that sort of thing.
Well, I would give one minor spoiler that was confusing to me until I figured out that they're flipping back and forth between two separate countries.
Right.
So try to, keep that in mind. That'll help you at the beginning.
I think folks that have watched Game of Thrones and all the different countries that are involved on Game of Thrones could probably pick this up pretty quickly if you keep that in mind.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, it's pay
attention.
It's a group of characters that have special abilities. Some are creators of fire, some create wind, some are cartographers and this and that and the other thing.
And one group is trying to get through this horrible shadowy zone to get to another city or something, so they can get supplies for their countries.
Right. And the dark shadowy zone is created by some folks with power as well, right? But we haven't gotten far enough along into the series.
So far.
Yeah, no, we watched two.
We did. We watched the first two.
Yeah, we watched the first 2, and the second one really starts opening up, and you're really kind of starting to hit your stride as far as understanding what's going on. But there's so many different characters,
it's confusing,
and several different storylines that it's really kind of hard to.
But we were into it.
We were very much into it. I was actually playing a game on my phone early on,
right?
And I had to actually set my phone down and pay attention because it was one of those. It's one of those shows that you really have to kind of pay attention to.
Totally, yeah. Carter really liked it too, so we got the teenager thumbs up.
The production value is very, very high. It's well done. Netflix is really kind of nailing it lately on spending the money, doing the production, and the stories are high quality for their original content that they're producing just for Netflix. So I was actually pretty impressed with that. So anyway, that's
we'll recap that one later.
Yeah, that's definitely our watch list. To recap, that's The Irregulars on Netflix, The Undoing on HBO, The Vault, which is on demand, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus, Men in Kilts, The Nevers on HBO Max, Thunder Force on Netflix, Absolutely Anything, which we found on Tubi, The New Mutants, which I think was on demand. You can find it for free, Inside Man, and Shadow and Bone.
Okay.
Bone. Anyway, that's what we're going to wrap it up with.
Yeah.
I've missed talking with you guys. It's been a hot minute since we've actually done a podcast.
True.
Folks, I hate to disappoint you. It's going to be another hot minute because we're going to go on vacation. But we may actually try to do some live broadcasting or some live from Mexico, 10, 15 minute little updates and post those online somehow, somewhere.
I would say keep an eye on our Facebook page and our Instagram.
Oh, for sure.
Because that's where
very
you post
good.
The stories kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, that's where the Xbox. That's where the Instagram live stuff happens and the Facebook live stuff happens. Maybe on TikTok. We have a TikTok page. It's not very well, what would you say?
I don't know. I don't do TikTok, so it's all you.
There's not a ton of content on there right now, but that might be where we post some stuff. So look for us on TikTok. TikTok. Anyway, folks, it's been fun chatting. Hope you enjoyed this episode. As usual, we're having a lovely beverage.
Let's go get to it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Until
See
next
you live
time.
from Mexico.
All right. Talk to you soon. Love you, Jen.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.